listening to you, it's like fatherhood has been rewarding to you.
I wish I knew what I know today when I was in my 30s, 40s.
Jeez.
You must be a purposeful father or parent.
What are some of these resounding feelings you have when you look at your kids sometimes?
I set out to be my kids' friend. Again, that's a decision I made. I purposed to be their friend. So all along, I believe we have been friends. And as they've grown older, we've become closer and closer and closer. I don't have anything that I don't discuss with my kids. The expectations that society has over them, they have free will. And their free will is that thing that when you go to bed at night, you're alone. The questions you ask yourself and answer. That is the point where you decide, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing it for me? Am I doing it for other people?
I think that was one of those best days of our lives during then.
No, it was amazing. We had just come from a very serious project.
Yeah?
The Lake Turkana wind. And the MD had promised staff a full camel.
Really?
Yes, out there. But now, unfortunately, it wasn't possible because there were too many people, different places, location. So we decided, let's look for a camel in Nairobi.
So you got a camel in Nairobi?
Yes. There are slaughterhouses for camels in Isili.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was an amazing get-together. And we were celebrating. And it was quite interesting because everybody was given a chance to talk. From drivers to mechanics to, it wasn't just speeches.
But for those people who don't know, we are discussing about a picture of me and Raphael sometimes back on our years of our life. We're going to show you the pictures. But to cut the long story short, welcome back to the podcast. This is a SOP podcast. And today we have one of my good friends, Raph. I don't even know. I feel I'm the kind of disrespecting him by calling him Raph. When was the last time I called you with that name?
No, you call me Mzee.
I call him Mzee. I don't know. So it's very, how do I put it? It's a bit very interesting that I have to call you that. It's so odd for me. Yeah. But anyway, welcome to the podcast. It's good to see you.
Asante. I'm happy to be here.
Finally.
And congratulations. I love your growth. I love how you've progressed.
Yeah.
And how you've gotten here.
I was thinking about me and you.
Yeah.
For those people who don't know us, we'll explain later. But this is for us. Let's have a me moment. Yeah? I was thinking about those days I'll come to your office and we'll drive down home.
Yes.
30 minutes just talking. How was that for you?
No, it was interesting. Today I've just come from a leadership summit.
Okay.
There's a very big American leadership guru called Rene Carayol who was in town.
Okay.
And he was talking about leadership. And, leadership, he said, is people are not born leaders. Neither are you made leaders. You are actually called. You raise up your hand,
What?
And you have to purpose. I want to be a leader. So there's nothing like you're born a leader or you can be trained. To be trained a leader is to become a manager,
Yeah.
So essentially, when I remember back those days, you wanted a mentor.
Yeah.
Yes. And we were talking about life. You had so many questions. I didn't have enough answers for all your questions.
And you listened to me.
That's the best I could do.
I look back always, and I'm like, wow. Sometimes I tell myself, because I've done so many mistakes personally, and I always tell myself, sorry about that, I always tell myself, to the Father's Day especially, because our topic today is international, is fatherhood.
Yes.
And we want to discuss it in a professional angle, because you've been a father, but you're also a professional. Okay? So in my in my professional life, I have been thinking what became of our fathers. Okay? What became of our fathers? Because there are so many fathers out here who stepped in for us when we were wrong and the world was right.
Times happened for our fathers. You know, we had a formula, and our formula was our culture, you know, our ways. There's a way we used to do things, which was very structured. We had roles. Fathers, you know, fatherhood was a role, and in our cultures, different cultures, we knew what a father is supposed to do. Then modernism happened. Religion landed on our shores. We became educated.
Yeah.
And so many isms came along, modernism, feminism, all those came along our way. And today, I would say fathers are confused. There's a lot of confusion. Or rather, let's not put it on fathers. Let's say our society is a bit mixed up. We're a bit confused. So we had structures. Those structures are now gone.
Yeah.
We are trying now to find new structures, you know, and there are so many templates. You know, everybody has their own template on what it should be like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unlike the days 200 years ago, before foreigners landed on our shores.
That's BC.
Well, yeah, but it's not so long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are talking of Christianity landed here maybe 150 years ago. And before that Christianity, we knew what a father was.
Yeah.
We knew what was expected of a father. The roles were well defined. Now today we have this mishmash where we have no clue what we want and how we want it. And there's 101 templates that are confusing us, you know. So we have to redefine what fatherhood is.
Yeah.
We have to go out and search for that real fatherhood, you know.
Let me jump in there because that's from the basis of this conversation. Fatherhood.
Yes.
Did you grow up with a father, and how was it for you growing up with a father or without a father? Because that's something we want to understand.
Personally, I didn't grow up with a father. I grew up in a single parent home. And to be honest, I don't think any kid growing up in a single parent home really knows that there's something they're missing until they're old enough to come out and see society. And that is when now you see, so a complete family is supposed to have father, mother, you know, and so on. So for me, I grew up without a father. But when I was old enough, I realized there's something that should have been there.
In your life?
Yes, in my life. And therefore, as I became an adult and I became a father, I was looking forward to discovering this role. I didn't have a role model.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have that father figure around me. I had uncles and male adults around me, but I don't think any one of them purposed to become a father figure for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I want to jump in there because then I want to discuss the induction of fatherhood because then there's some things you learn from our mothers. I equally grew up with a father, but it was not so much present in my life, you know. But most of the things that shaped me, my personality, my behavior, my character, I think I learned most of them from my mom. So before we get into the induction part, what are some of these key values you learned from your mom and you still hold them dearly till today? That mother akipiga simu saizi, you're like, Mom, nimeshikana but I see you at 4.
Even before I answer that, I'll take you back to before modernism landed on our shores. Children were brought up by their mothers. Their fathers came into play when they were old enough now to be inducted into manhood.
Yeah.
So boys grew up around their mother. They took care of chores around their mothers. They took care of sheep, goats around the homestead. The older boys, who are probably what we will call morans, would join their fathers, and they would be taught the art of defending the community, the art of being a man, the art of leadership. All those things were taught way past 14, 16 years. But from 0 to about when they became young men, they were around their mothers.
Yeah.
Their mothers taught them about their roots, about their clan, about their family, about, those are the do's and don'ts of everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
As a boy, you can't do this. As a girl, you can't do this. This is what is expected of you. We want you to become this. We are hoping you can learn this art, you can grow and become something. So the first unit of any lessons in life is the mother. The mother is the one who has to teach you who you are, your roots, where, what community you are from. Learn your language, learn your sayings, learn the taboos, learn the good things, make you aspire to be something better. Tell you, I want you to be like that man, like that woman, all those things. All that is what a mother does.
Yeah.
And the role of mothers is very, very important. Very, very important. And sometimes we probably underrate it because, again, mothers are multitaskers.
Yeah.
They do so many things. A father can be just a figure to provide money, and that's it. But a mother has to be there to take care of all your small problems and so on. So back to your question, what are those things that we learn from our mothers?
You.
Yes, what I learned from my mother.
Yeah.
Most important is a sense of hard work. I have seen her working from when I was conscious up to probably, she retired, I think, some 15 years ago.
Okay.
And she's still working even today. So, yeah, she's in her
She must be
70s, mid-70s, going on. But she works. She has got her farm. She has got so many things she's doing. And I admire that. She never tires. And that sense of hard work I've watched over the years. She was employed. I could see her trying to do business. We grew up around a kiosk. You know what? Those kiosks in the estate?
Yeah.
In Eastlands.
Yeah, Eastland.
Yes. So we grew up around a kiosk right outside the house.
Yeah.
And we had to work. You had to wake up at 4 a.m., wait for the KCC truck to bring milk. If you get late, because they would come throwing the crates out. And then on weekends and month end, we would all work in the shop, me and my brothers, until late, 9 p.m., 10 p.m. And then I could walk for 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers with a trolley, go and buy unga, go and buy sugar, So for me, working was always natural. I didn't think it's something I have to do. It's something I thought everyone does.
Yeah.
Yes, so that sense of hard work. The other thing that I appreciate so much that I learned from my mom is the power of small gains.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I've seen her do amazing things, buy her own shamba. Where she came from, she didn't inherit any land from her family because she was unmarried. So she had to buy her own land, buy her own houses, her own investments. And today I believe she's financially independent. She doesn't depend on her children. Yeah, because she made some investments, but it was very hard work.
Okay.
So I learned the art of saving from her. That if you want something, you can start with small, tiny steps, and they pile up into something big. So for me, those are the most important thing. And of course, a sense of family.
Yeah.
Sacrifice. When you see someone sacrificing, I don't know, when we are young and kids, you hardly notice. But now, in hindsight, when I look back, I realize my mother never used to buy new clothes. She was always wearing some torn gomas,
Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't like she wasn't fashionable. She didn't have the money. She was sacrificing so that she can have money for her children. So I've also learned that sense of sacrifice.
So talking of that, because I think the values I see in your mom, I probably saw them in my mom. when I was also in my teenage years, because also my mom could go out of his ways to make things work. And sometimes, I remember sometimes back when I was in Form 4, she took a matatu from home, Island of course, and went to my school, and she was so sick, you know. She was so sick that the wind could carry her. But I still saw her sitting down and telling checking my marks, how I've performed. That image has never left me to today. And now, with that in mind, I think as men, we also need to learn that there are some values that we learn from our parents, probably our mothers in this particular, that don't leave us, especially men. So then, how do you then, no, not how then our second phase of life becomes induction to fatherhood. You know, how was that for you? When you knew, was it planned? Or did you know you were going to become a father? And how was it for you in the first experience?
I became a father at the age of 30, which is old enough.
Yeah.
I know there are some of my age mates who are fathers at 23, 24, 25 years. But for me, I became a father at the age of 30. I believe that was old enough. I had already seen life and seen what is happening around me. And I had already been conscious and aware of the role of fatherhood. So I already had models, you know, I would like to be a father like that. I would like to be a father like that, you know, and so on. So for me, I would say the induction was, it was voluntary, I was willing, I was ready.
Oh, wow.
Or so I thought. Yeah.
You're the first Islam guy who was ready, I know.
Mine wasn't an accident. It wasn't like we got pregnant and
now we are here.
We are here.
Yeah.
No. I set out, I want to get married and I want to have a baby.
Yeah. So the induction journey for you, now that you had planned for it, you knew you are ready. Now, take us through the journey of step one, going to the hospital and picking your first, holding your first baby, and then committing yourself to the journey of fatherhood. What did you tell yourself?
Oh, it was exciting. It was very exciting. I remember I was in the delivery room for my son's birth.
You were there?
Yes, I was. I didn't, of course, I decided I'm not going back, so I wasn't there for my daughter. I wasn't in the delivery room.
You can't go back.
I think you do it once.
Yeah.
And I think once is enough. And it's witnessing the miracle of life. It's quite powerful, and it never leaves you. I always told my son's mother that I was the first one to see him.
Audacity.
Yes. So it's quite exciting, and I think it's something, if you have the heart for it, every father should be there to start the journey of fatherhood by being present at birth, you know, being present at every step of the child. I guess for me, I was very ready.
Yeah.
I was very ready. I had prepared mentally. It wasn't like an accident and I was running away from it. Luckily for me, I was working, so I was already like living on my own, in my own house, you know. So it wasn't like a misfortune or something bad happening.
So it was not an accident?
No, it wasn't an accident. I think I was ready. I had very close friends, my age mates, who were already fathers. By the time I was becoming a father, there were many people around me who were already fathers of 3-year-olds, 5-year-olds. So it was like I was late in getting into the party. You know. But
you're always partying.
Yes, I was ready. I was ready to be a father.
Okay.
Yeah.
So think of it with me that now you are ready to be a father. Did you have a module, okay, or a template on how you're going to journey around it? because I'm asking this for friends for young people like me
Yes.
who are into fatherhood. And sometimes it's not even clear on what you should do with a kid or your boy or your daughter. Did you have that template?
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that I had imagined what fatherhood is like. You imagine fatherhood is the fun. The popular pictures we see or
On social media.
on social media and in movies. So we didn't have a lot of social media back then, but we had a lot of Hollywood images of what family and fatherhood is. So it's not all that, So you start off imagining that it's going to be fun. Nobody tells you that you'll have sleepless nights. I didn't know what colic was.
What's colic?
I
I don't know it. No, I don't know it.
No, anyway, it's a condition that some babies get, where after they eat or they have suckled, then they get gas and it won't go away, and they can cry the whole night. You get a kid crying from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Oh, goodness.
So... when you're new to parenthood, you're grappling with that, and then suddenly the mother can't sleep, you can't sleep, you're going to work, you're getting late to work because you've been with the baby the whole night. Small things like that. You're not prepared for that. We always look at the positive, fun side of fatherhood.
Fatherhood, yeah.
Yes, we all see ourselves tossing our kids up in the air. And shout out to all mothers, because there's a lot of hard work being a mother, being a parent, taking care of a kid. You have a kid and you're taking care of him 24 hours.
Yeah, and you're just there for the kid.
Your partner is there for a few hours. Maybe they come from the office. They help you, maybe hold him a few minutes. But you have to bath this kid, you have to feed him, you have to take care of his health, you have to, all those things. But it's quite, nobody prepares you
for
the hard work.
I want to ask you, because now you, I know you as a very, as a professional in comms, okay? And of course, we're going to have a conversation about that towards the end of this. But I want to ask you, now that you're a father, how are you able to balance work and fatherhood? Because there's so many issues of mental health now, and sometimes someone says, this is taking a toll on me, I have to take care of my kid. How are you able to balance in between that phase?
It's not easy. When you're in your 20s and 30s, and that's when most of us become fathers, it's at the point where you're trying to build a name for yourself professionally. You're either studying at night or you're doing trainings, you're trying to climb the corporate ladder, and so on. And this same time, you're expected also to be a very active parent, on the other side. So generally we like calling it work-life balance. But I think it's beyond work-life balance. I would say it should be, something like parenting, and what we're discussing today, fatherhood, is not an optional thing. There are some people whose work-life balance is very skewed. There's too much work, more than life. I don't think we should ever allow to have too much work, that it interferes with your duties as a father or as a parent. It shouldn't be allowed. You should be able to prioritize your family, your children. They should be a priority, despite you being needed at work. So when we call it work-life balance, I think we get it wrong. Because, we work for 8 hours or 10 hours a day. But parenthood is a 24-hour job. You can't.
Is it even 24? It's a lifetime thing.
It's a lifetime thing. I mean, you can't. It's not a switch you switch on and switch off. Even when you're in the office, you're a father.
Yeah.
When you're traveling on the road, you're a father. There are responsibilities. There's a role you must play. It's different. You can put off your work on a weekend, or you can go home in the evening at 6 p.m. and work is off. But you can never switch off that responsibility of being a father. You're supposed to be a father permanently. Of course, my early days of fatherhood, I didn't have this realization and this awareness.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, when you're young, you're busy chasing the bag and you're thinking of your career is more important. My job has always taken me away from home on long periods, a week, 2 weeks, and so on. My advice today to any young parent, and more so fathers, is make that role a priority. You know, make sure that being a father is a priority above everything else. You know, work, you can switch it on and off. You can work from 8 to 5, and then from 6 p.m. onwards, you're not at work, you're not working, but you can't afford to switch off your role as a parent. That one you must work on, you know.
It's permanent.
It's permanent. It's a full-time responsibility, you know.
I want to ask you something out of the context we discussed. How do you feel sometimes when you just go and see your parents as a son?
It's quite amazing. I don't know whether it's only in Africa, but Africans, we never, even me at my age, in my 50s, my mother still calls me my child.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm still
her
child.
You're the child of your mom, even at this age.
Even at this age. I don't think that you ever outgrow that. My son is 25 years old and he's still a baby to me. He's, you know, I still worry about him. I still think about him. So you never stop being the child, you know. Fortunately, the cycle of life, you know, we start by taking care of our kids when they can't take care of themselves. And if we are lucky to live to old age, to 90 years and 100, then they also take care of us in our old age. So it's a cycle that just keeps going round and round. But you never stop.
You never stop. That's the key word.
Yes.
You never stop. And I think listening to you, it's like fatherhood has been rewarding to you.
I would say I wish I knew what I know today when I was in my 30s, 40s. You know, which is you must be a purposeful father or parent. You must make a decision that I'm going to be a father, you know. Now, today, and especially in our country, we have a lot of single parents, both women and men.
Yeah.
A lot of people are bringing up kids on their own and not in that nuclear, complete family of father, mother, you know, and so on. And I hear a lot of chest thumping, people saying, yes, I can do it. You know, I don't need a man, I don't need a woman, I can take care of my kid. But I think, to be honest, the role of a mother, you'll be cheating yourself as a man to say that you can be a very good mother.
Yeah.
Yes, the role of a father, you'll be cheating yourself as a woman to say that you can become a very good father. So we must appreciate that those roles are distinct and they have people who should play them. And I'm a strong believer that fatherhood is beyond the biological fact.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
It's not just because you are my biological father that you can become my father or play the role of a father. Anybody can play the role of a father. And I always feel like, especially women who are single, but I've got brothers.
Yeah.
Those brothers should play the role of a father, because the role of a father can never be played by the mother. You know, you need a man who can be able to sit down with a young boy and teach him how to be a father. You need a man who can be able to sit down with a young girl and teach her what a man is. You know, there's no way a mother can ever teach the daughter what a man is. It needs a man to do that. And I feel, therefore, that we should be able to become fathers without being biological fathers. You should be able to be your sister's kid's father. You should be able to be your cousin's kid's father, you know, if she's single. And what do we mean by that role? We want a man who can be able to guide a child, who can be able to hold that child's hand and tell him that as a young boy of maybe 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and especially the teenagers, I am here, and I want you to consider me as your father. If there's anything you would want me to be like, that you wanted, you would wish your father to be like, I'm here to do that. I'm here to play that role. You know?
You're literally talking about men who step up.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that is very critical even to my life personally, because I've seen men stepping up for me when they are not my biological fathers, you know. I have been on the wrong, and sometimes we think that this life should just be smooth. You cannot be always on the wrong. You should always be right. And I want to discuss this with you because there's another question I wanted to ask you. But let's discuss fatherhood in teenage or adolescence. Yes. You know, during adolescence, I'm having some tattoo on me here. Okay, they're not permanent. I just went somewhere for fun, and I had them. So adolescence is where shaping or transformation happens. So as a young father, how do young fathers handle adolescence? You know, because you don't know. You also don't know. You're probably in your 40 or in your 35. Or in your 38, and your daughter, your son is already transitioning.
It's teenagehood is challenging because it's a very confusing time for teenagers. You have all these things happening to you. You know, there's hormones running all over the place. Boys are becoming men, and young girls are becoming women, and it's the time you find young kids rebelling against their parents. You know, they're having challenges and problems in school. They start having problems with authority. And the reason is, we, as a parent, sometimes we are left behind. You still think this is Kababa and Kamami who is 2 years old, 3 years old. And they were excited to see you come home and they jump over you. And we forget that they are transiting. They are growing up. And their growing up is quite a challenge on their bodies, on them, and on the persons they are. As they are growing up, they are experiencing suddenly. Remember, we always say that a young kid thinks their mother is, or their father is, the strongest person, the most clever person, the richest person. And then one day they go out to the world and they realize, no, my dad is not all those things. And it's at that point that either there are some values you've taught them, and they will learn that, it doesn't matter. You know, my dad is not Superman, but he's the best dad.
Yeah.
It's some foundation you laid when they were young. Now, if you don't lay that foundation, if you don't prepare your kids for life, because essentially parenthood is preparing your kids for life. You have a kid for 18 years, 20 years, and then suddenly one day you have to let them go and tell them, now, go and deal with the world. Have you prepared them? Now, a lot of us talk of in your career.
Yeah.
I'm sure you had a mentor somewhere in your journey.
Yeah.
Someone who you looked up to. And you went to them and told them, I would like to learn from you. Even in skills, if you want to develop skills, Every trade has a room for an apprentice. If you want to be a good carpenter, you go to a carpentry shop and you ask your carpenter, can I learn from you? But the game of life, we don't do that.
Yeah, we don't do that
We
here.
don't offer apprenticeship to
We don't do that here.
our own children. We don't teach them how life is going to be out there. We just set them free. And therefore, my thinking is that most of us parents are not prepared for the transitions of the kids. We have a kid who is 7 years old. They're obedient, tell them to go to church, they go, learn the Bible, they learn the Quran, they learn everything. Then one morning they wake up and they're not doing anything you want them to do. They're doing the opposite of what they don't want to talk to you, they lock themselves up in the room, Now, how you react is what sets the tempo. Suddenly you find you're fighting with your child, you're having problems and so on. So it's that transition. Both parties are usually not ready for it. The teenager doesn't know what is happening to them.
Yeah.
And you as a parent, you didn't prepare them. And that is where mentoring is very important. You have to be their mentor. You have to anticipate that at this age, my child would be behaving this way. And as soon as they start, you prepare. You sit them down and you tell them, listen, I know a time is coming when you won't be listening to me. And they'll ask you, why would I not listen to you? And you tell them hormones and a lot of things will be going through your life. And, so you have to discuss, be prepared and prepare that child for that eventuality, because it will happen. It does happen always, yes.
Wow, this is so in-depth. It's like you're telling me, Steve, start the journey now.
Yeah, start it now.
Like you're telling me, Steve, start the journey now. And these are the things you need to do going forward. But just to also tap on that, what are some of these resounding feelings you have when you look at your kids sometimes? And I know they're also my friends, but sometimes there's some things you look at and you say, I'm so glad we did this. I am so glad. I see so many pictures of you when now my friends, they're now friends of mine, they are young. And I'm like, wow, that was so cool. So what are some of these things you did with your kids that are so priceless to you now?
How do I put it? I set out to be my kids' friend. Again, that's a decision I made. I purposed to be their friend. So all along, I believe we have been friends. And as they've grown older, we've become closer and closer and closer. I don't have anything that I don't discuss with my kids. We discuss just about anything in life. Their first loves, their first heartbreaks, all those things.
Really?
Yes. I tell them, if you want to experiment with whatever. I'm a liberal person naturally. That's my nature. I'm a liberal, so I don't carry a sword and a Bible and say, you must do this, you must do the other. I taught my kids about free will very early when they were very young. That despite everything, we are manipulated by society.
Yeah.
Yes, we are told, do this, you must do this, you must do the other. But I tell them, above all that, the expectations that society has over them, they have free will. And their free will is that thing that when you go to bed at night, you're alone. The questions you ask yourself and answer. That is the point where you decide, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing it for me? Am I doing it for other people? So I have always been purposeful that I want to be friends with my kids. And I think from the start, I think I had thought of a path that they needed to follow.
Yeah.
And I determined that path. And I said up to the time they are old enough to make their own paths, this is the path I've created for them. And to your question, I would say create experiences. We hardly know ourselves as human beings. We hardly know our potential. We hardly know the extent to which, the threshold of our abilities. We don't know all that. And you can only learn that if you keep trying different things. And I think I've had discussions with you about this. Expose your son to as many things as you can. And there's something that is going to capture his heart. There's something he's going to love. I expose my kids to art, to sports, to just about anything. What do you want? Camping, you want to ride, you want to do karate, do all those things. And somewhere in that journey, today, they call me and tell me, today I went out and I was teaching my friends how to pitch a tent.
Oh, wow.
And they were all wondering, how did I learn? And that's from my daughter, and she takes them back and tells them, I learned this when I was a young kid. Because I used to take them camping and, riding motorbikes, riding, all those things. So for me today, I feel very proud when they call me and tell me, thank you. You taught us this. You exposed us to this. So what I'm saying is, there is no template on how you should bring up your kids. For me, if time allows, expose them to just about anything. Expose them to everything. Take them to football games. Take them to rugby games. Take them to tennis games. Take them everywhere they want to go. And when kids are young, they do a lot of experimenting. They think it's cool to join the karate club.
I can imagine Gab.
My daughter made me buy karate uniforms, and I think she practiced once or twice. And that uniform was very expensive.
Unachoma bana.
Yes. So, but there are those things along the journey that they got hooked to, and they still enjoy to date. My son plays golf even today, and he tells me, thank you for teaching me. Most of his age mates are learning to play golf now, but he started playing it when he was a young kid. And it's not because I had money, but it's because it was purposeful. I was like, I must expose them to this, Now, part of that is I probably was overcompensating because I didn't grow up with that kind of exposure. I didn't know how to swim as a kid. I didn't know how to ride a bike. I think I learned how to ride a bicycle when I was 21 years. So it feels like there's a bit of your life you've missed out. So I was deliberate that my kids will not miss out on any bit. So I was out exposing them to just about everything.
Someone told me that fatherhood is someone told me that fatherhood is training your kids. We have so many noise here, but it's fine. Someone told me fatherhood is training your kids on what you missed, or is being what you missed to your kids.
Yeah, there's a bit of that. In life, we try to relive the lives that we didn't live or we didn't experience. We try to live them through our kids, which can be dangerous. I've seen cases of where I didn't do a big wedding, and now I want my son to have a huge wedding against his will or his ability, because I'm doing it I'm doing it for myself, to compensate for the one I missed. I think that's not the right way.
That's funny.
No, that's not the right way. But there are some positives, I would say. Like, for instance, the kind of schools I went to, not bad schools, but schools that my mother then was able to pay for and was able to get me into. But your chances of succeeding in a school where only 5 kids go to Form 1 and everybody else drops out in primary,
Yeah.
it means you're increasing the chances of your kid not. Whereas there's a school somewhere where your kid, or rather, the ratios are only 2 kids don't make it to Form 1. Or if it's high school, only 5 kids out of 100 don't make it to university. Where would you rather your child be? You know, it's so obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was deliberate about such things. So I made sure that I take my kids to schools where they increase their chances of being successful. I went to the kind of schools where probably I have less than 5 of my primary school mates in contact with me. I don't know where they are.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the high school I went to, probably I have less than 10 of my friends from that school. The rest I don't know where they are. Today I see people doing their high school reunions, and you find there are 100 and they're all, you know, alive and they are doing well.
Let me jump in short there. Jump shortly there, because I think I was discussing this with you, that why can't I meet the guys I was in high school with? You know, why can't I meet them? And it boils down to what you are saying. You know.
I went to, my high school was Pumwani Secondary.
Oh, you're the Pumu guys.
Yes, and
Stash was just next to you there.
yes, Tarehe across the road. Actually, we shared a fence. And I was there for 4 years. And I can tell you today, half of the kids from that school came from Huruma, Madare, you know, Pumwani, Biafra, go across to Maringo, Jericho, you know, all the way.
It's Lando.
Yeah, I think 90% of the kids were from that neighborhood. Half the kids, a lot of my classmates, I think probably like 10, were dead before we turned 30.
Sad.
You know, the few who survived, you try and trace where people are. It's almost impossible. I know a few, some are in the US, some are here, you know. 1 or 2 are working in government, a few are doing businesses. But I'm saying less than 10 people from my class, you know. So when you become a parent, then I wanted to improve on what my mother was able to do for me. And therefore, I was deliberate the kind of schools I want to take my kids. And I sacrificed that I would pay higher school fees just to make sure they're in a school where their chances of succeeding are higher. So that's what I'm saying, that as a parent, you have to be deliberate. You have to, you know, this is a purpose. This is what I want to do. Make decisions, you know. Yeah.
Wow, this is so much deep. I think we have like almost 5 minutes to close this. But I want to ask you 2 more things that I think could enable us, even as young fathers, to learn from you. You know, I mean, what are some of the resounding feelings you still have, even as when you're still having your kids around you? That is one. And secondly, what do you see is the future of fatherhood?
You know, there's no right way of, or there's no template for fatherhood.
Yeah.
That you can say that you have figured it out. I always say that the report form every parent gets is when your children are old enough and they've become citizens, independent, and they're out there and they're impacting their communities and their families. I think that's when you can be called a successful parent. And we have no idea how that goes, because there's no right way of parenting or wrong way of parenting. I always say do your own. Be your own. Be authentic to your own realities, your own abilities. Do the best you can. Give it your best. That is what fatherhood to me is all about. Of course, we need to discuss what is fatherhood. And I keep saying fatherhood is a role and a responsibility. Yes. It's a responsibility that you're given to nurture a life, and you have the power to create that life in a way that it can be a joy to society, or it can be a pain to you and to your community. So that responsibility is what a lot of us grapple with. I haven't figured it, but I keep telling you that when I was 20s, 30s, I wish I knew what I know today,
Yeah.
I would have been a different father, maybe a better father than I was then. And I think that's why we need to keep this discourse. We need to keep talking. We need to keep encouraging young fathers and equipping them, teaching them, this is what a good father is. This is how to avoid being a bad father. And for me, it's all about being present. Every step, that child, that responsibility you have, every step they are taking, make sure you're there. Make sure you're part of that, And I think that's how you can say that you have figured fatherhood,
Wow, so we're going to switch this up, kidogo. Today is your birthday.
Yes, it is. Interesting day.
Is this where you're bringing Mose's favorite? I brought something here for you. Please. It's always a culture that we need to do this always, So,
but you're not marketing anymore.
No, we are not marketing. But these guys are your people.
Yes.
We're going to have Mose's favorite after this. And we're going to hand it over. But for now, for the purposes of of you being here, Karibu.
Thank you so
and
much.
Happy birthday.
Asante.
How does fifth floor look on you?
I'm almost exiting fifth floor.
Oh, really?
Yes. I'm 57 today.
Oh, goodness. You're such a young baby.
No, I'm 57. In 3 years' time, I'll be retired.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm stopping being employed. And then I continue working. I'm never stopping working. I'll keep working.
I think we need to discuss retirement in our next podcast.
We should.
Because that's another thing that also young people or young professionals need to do and learn even as they scale up on their careers. But lastly, as we close on this, which is your favorite country so far to travel in?
Wow. Well, there are two countries I love, and that is India, because I spent 5 years of my life there.
Yeah.
And I've been back twice, and South Africa. I love those two countries.
Why?
I don't know. There's just something about India. A lot of people focus on, how do I put it? People look at India and see noise, some negative things. India is so alive, There's no place in this world that is as interesting as India. I don't know. If we could be allowed to have a second country, India would be my second country.
Utaki kuguza mlima?
No. India would be that, yes. I love South Africa as well. There are a few countries. I haven't traveled to a lot of countries, but the few I have traveled to, there are those countries you get some affinity, some attachment to.
Yeah.
Yes. China shocked me because China is not what we think it is.
The fake things or what?
No, China is amazing. Now, those misconceptions, I would want everybody to travel to China.
Okay.
What shocked me, number one, is that every car on the road in China, I think 60% are Volkswagens, models that we don't have here.
Really?
Their cities are built to some standards that, it's amazing. It's amazing. So, I mean, traveling opens your eyes, I think. And there are some countries I think we all need to travel, for the culture, for the architecture, for
the food.
History, for the food.
Yeah.
For the beauty. Every country is beautiful, by the way. This notion that the sunsets are best in your own country.
In Lamu.
Some of the best sunsets I've seen were Lake Turkana, Homa Bay, Lamu.
Yeah, Lamu is amazing.
Kilifi, the creek, Diani, but it's the same in other countries.
Yeah.
Sunsets are beautiful everywhere. Experience as many as you can.
Yeah, I think life is about sunsets and sunrises.
Yes.
That's what I tell myself always. And I think also what I've learned about traveling, that you've said, you go and you see what people are doing in their countries. The amount you spend cannot match what stays with you when you come back to your country.
True.
Yeah. So I'm so grateful for having you here again.
Yes,
Let's do retirement in our next episode. And from me and to so many people from SOP Podcast, I think I want to tell you happy birthday. We love you. Keep being you. And keep inspiring so many young people to live the best of their ability.
Asante.
Yeah?
Thank you so much.
Happy birthday, boss.
Asante.
You look so young in it, man.
No. I'm an old man. I'm there. That's what you call me.
Young at heart, of course.
Yeah. Asante sana. And good luck with the podcast.
Asante.
And everything you're doing.
Asante sana. Thank you for coming.
Okay.
Aya.